Right, everyone. Oh my God, I was just laughing because Chris was checking in. He said, Dan, are you okay? You look stressed. You look like you're in another world. And I said, you know what? I'm overwhelmed. I really am. I'm overwhelmed with joy because of what I can see. And we started, who was at the very first one of these master classes? Yeah? We had about 200 of us. And you know when they get the round tables out to make it look a bit bigger and busier. And it's lovely because today we stand here together. And while we laugh and we've all got different organizations, or is our organization here? And I said in the last masterclass, everyone in here is in our organizations. We thought, Foxy, where are we going to go with this? We need big vision, okay? So what we're going to do, and I can see it, I know, I can see it, guys, because this is going to multiply again, but we've got responsibility. We need to stick together and do it right, and that's what we're going to teach you over the weekend. So this is where we're going. We're going to fill an arena with 10,000. God, look at the state of us now. It's out of control. But anyway, we might as well keep going, okay? We're having fun, aren't we? Yeah? Right, okay. So, for anyone who doesn't know us, I'm just going to pass you over to my wonderful wife, Claire. She introduced me to Herbalife. I was such a great student, not. So we'll just tell you a little bit about ourselves. Is that okay, guys?
Okay, so today in our section, me and Dan are really excited because we're actually going to give you an overview of how have we ended up here, okay? And we're going to help set the scene for the weekend. But to open it up, we're just going to go back a little bit. So, you know, Dan mentioned that it was me who got involved in Herbalife first. My background was in personal training and health club management. And 12 years ago, I was 7 months pregnant with our first son, Joseph. I was working as a health club manager, doing around 70 hours a week. So I was doing management of the day. On my lunchtime, evenings and weekends, I was also doing personal training. And I actually really loved it. I really loved it. I've always been passionate about helping people. But I did realise with personal training that my business, I was capped with time, okay? There's only 24 hours in the day. Once the diary was full, then you would run out of obviously increasing your income and the amount of people that you could help. And I'd gone into management not because I really wanted to be a manager, yeah? I'd gone into it because I'd come to a bit of a crossroads in my life where I'd had my home repossessed 2 years earlier, just before meeting Dan. And if I'm honest, do you know what? It's quite... It's normally him who cries, it's him.
Come on, girl, pull it together, you're fine, you're fine.
But,
come on!
Yeah. But, you know, I was at a point where I was working bill to bill, not even paycheck to paycheck. And you know, I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but when you are in a lot of debt, you just really are chasing the next bill that you need to pay, moving money around, and that was me. So going into management just gave me a steady salary for a period of time where I could just really get my life back on track and get a clear thought process of what do I want to do in the next few years. And that was when Herbalife showed up. And I was actually working with a really good friend. It was a guy called Jez. He was a strength and conditioning coach. Amazing guy. We were really good friends. And he'd started doing this thing called Herbalife. And as clients, as a personal trainer, were getting insane results. He was looking like mighty energized. That's the only way I can explain it. And people were noticing. And he said to me 6 times, Foxy, because he knew my financial situation, would you be interested in joining my team and earning a bit of money? And if I'm honest, you know, when you're in debt, you just can't think straight. Okay, well, that was me. I was working 70 hours. I was about to be a brand new mum. And I really wanted to punch him. I said this last night because every time he asked me, I would get frustrated, wouldn't I, Dan? Because I just thought, stop asking me, you know, I'm just trying to survive. And then he changed what he said. And he said, Foxy, can I practice a free wellness evaluation on you? Will you be my guinea pig? And you know what? What you do for your friends, you say yes. And that was really like a sliding door moment where everything changed for me, because I sat in that wellness evaluation and I seen the Herbalife philosophy, the distributor difference, the fact the products were backed by science, and I needed more energy. I was skipping breakfast. I was really passionate about helping people, and that gave me the confidence to start as a customer. I very quickly, energy went through the roof. I thought, wow, this is amazing. That I then wanted some discounts, so I watched an opportunity meeting, got an account, and then I got in touch with Jez's upline. And this is what I love about Herbalife. If you find your upline maybe doesn't have the experience to help you, what's amazing is you go to the next person, and there's a never-ending line of people who can reach out and help you to grow and develop. And I reached out to our next upline. There was a guy called Wayne Bullock. There he is. And I was like, Wayne, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And I think Wayne was just demented and was like, Foxy, I've only been in Herbalife 6 weeks. You know, I wanted to know everything yesterday. And what was amazing was Wayne said, you need to just go above me to my mentor. It's a guy called Nick Jarvis. And I remember speaking on the phone to Nick, and I rang him, and Nick was asking me all these questions. I'm not going to do a Nick impersonation. He goes,
can't be worse than Georgian
yes.
Scouse accent.
I know, Jordan, that was a terrible Scouse accent. So I remember being on the phone to Nick and saying to Nick, you know, I really want to earn some extra income. I love the products. What do I do next? Can you show me how? And, you know, Nick asked me loads of questions, which Debbie Ashcroft is going to cover tomorrow in training activation. And when he asked me the questions and he found out what I wanted, he then said to me, are you serious? And I was like, of course I'm serious. Rubbing my belly, 7 months. And he said, okay, if you're serious, you need to go to the event to learn. Does that make sense? And I was like, yeah, no problem. Where's the event? And he goes, Barcelona. And I thought, is he messing? I've just told him I'm in £30,000 worth of debt. I'm 7 months pregnant. My husband is not really engaged yet. How am I going to get to Barcelona? And all these thoughts were going through my head. And then Nick goes, but Claire, you said you were serious. And you know when you just go, and I said, okay, I'll be there. And, you know, I went to that event. It was Extravaganza 2011 in Barcelona. Me and Wayne went. I was 7 months pregnant. I sat at the very back of arena with 18,000 people, all absolutely wired on Thermo T and Liftoff. And you know what? I didn't really get it, but I felt it. I heard the stories. I seen how people had changed their life. And I just thought, I'm not the brightest. In school, I'm a terrible speller. If you see the slides and the spelling mistakes, it's my fault. So can you all just give me some slack? Yeah? But I'm not the best speller. I'm not the best with numbers. I was always like the lower end of the sets in school. But here's what I know I am. I'm hardworking. I'm teachable. I don't give up easy. So show me what to do and I'm in. And, you know, I came back from that event, and for the first year, I was just playing with it. I was doing it to get some discounts on the products, an extra £200 a month to cover the products, and Dan was doing his thing.
I sure was. For 25 years I was doing my thing. And I no idea what it was, but my background was in corporate banking, and I did that for 25 years. I worked my way up, and you know what? It was a great job, don't get me wrong. But I felt like with the work-life balance and, you know, with us having kids and family coming, I just thought there's got to be more, but I didn't know what. So Claire saw an opportunity, and she said, you know what, Dan? We're going to set up a cleaning company, and you're going to run it. I said, fine. Because I love a good clean, honestly. And I loved it. I was great with this. So anyway, I was happy. We built this great company up, so we did, employing over 200 people, really successful. And I thought I'm going to be the cleaning king of Europe, you know. But you know what's mad is life, isn't it? And just before Claire and I were due to get married, one of the contracts couldn't pay me. I thought, God, I didn't sign up for this. So we were out for about 30,000, 40,000 pounds a couple of weeks before we got married. And we managed to get married because we had to pay the staff. God, don't employ anyone. But we got married. Family came together. We made it happen. It wasn't ideal. And to celebrate, I got to go to Windsor to a Herbalife event.
It was our honeymoon.
For our honeymoon.
It was.
And I don't know, is there anyone who's been kind of dragged here to keep the wife happy today? Oh my God, right, so anyway, you know what I mean? So here I am. Claire's putting this t-shirt on. Danny's fella here is I think you were winning cars, Danny. Do you remember at the time we had the TTs, and I'm listening to all the stories, David, Fiona, Nick, all the guys, Xander, and they're all getting up and, you know, normal guys changing their life. And I said, Jesus, Claire, this is great. No idea what it is, but we're going to take over the world, because if these guys can do it, we're going to get extremely successful. And we came in and off we went. And do you know what? We were just really excited, weren't we, love?
We was, yeah.
We were so excited that we just went out. We spoke to everyone. Didn't really know what we were doing. Honestly. We didn't even get to Get Team because we were hitting Millionaire Team. Didn't have time for that. We were so good. And then we got to Millionaire Team, and we thought, we've arrived. We're going to be President's Team in 6 months. And that didn't happen, by the way. And I'll tell you what happened is, we got lost. And we got lost in Herbalife for 6 years. And we got lost because what we realized was we stopped doing the do. We didn't really know what our structure was, or we didn't have a flow. We had an idea, but it's nothing like you guys have now to work with. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if there's anyone in the room, and I'm just trying to be honest and relatable, was we always came to the event, so we did, and I thank Laura, Justin, and Matt, and all the guys for reaching out, and corporate, just to keep us around the fire. We always came to the event, so we did, but when you don't have, say, a Millionaire Team pen, it's just not a great place. You kind of hide, so you do. But our belief went down, our dream went down, if I'm completely honest with you. And it wasn't until we, for some reason, qualified for the Future President's Team retreat. And this, for me, in Herbalife, is my favorite event, so it is, besides this one, obviously. And we had to make a choice that one of us were to go. And we robbed Peter to pay Paul. We didn't have the money. I'd like to thank Carol Sinfield for, you know, looking after Claire, because she paid for stuff at the time. Thank you, Carol. I don't, you know. And Carol, we were too embarrassed at the time to talk and say we didn't have the money. You know what, it's not nice, is it? And Claire went. And I'll just pass you over to Claire just to share what happened there.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Just to go back, you know, in them years, the 6 years when we lost our Millionaire Team check, we used to come to the events, and I used to really struggle, and I can put a really good face on because I used to be an aerobics instructor, so I can do the whole, yeah, let's go, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Jesus. And I can't.
So we would come to the event and I'd put that brave face on, but I'd be dying inside because I felt embarrassed. And when you get to that place, we just couldn't see a way through. And as Dan said, we did lose our Herbalife dream, but we never stopped going to the events. We never, and that's a big message, never, ever quit. But Dan said, we qualified for Future Pres Team Retreat, and that was a big deal for us. And we went, and you know, Carol really looked after us. And I can't look at you, Carol, because you make me cry. But you know, when we went, we didn't have the money. She was really generous. Scott and Nick were with us, and I don't know whether they really knew, you know, how bad a place me and Dan were in. But we sat in that event, and Nick, and I forgot to say this yesterday, he'd actually been to Ireland to look at clubs about 2 months earlier. Is that right, Nick? And he messaged me, and we'd actually said to Nick 90 days earlier at another event in Madrid, we're going to take a step back out of Herbalife. Don't contact us because we need to go underground. And Nick respected that. But he went to Ireland and he sat in Orly and Sinead's club, and they were doing what you call 10,000 total volume. And Nick just sent me one message and said, I'm sitting in Ireland in Sinead and Orly's club. They're doing 10,000 total volume a month. Please, you and Dan, look at this. And I felt like battering him. Because I wasn't in a great place, but I'm forever grateful because that opened our mind. Because when I went to Seville, I was ready to learn. I was open to listen, to find something. And we sat in Seville, and you know, I remember sitting there, and we heard a lady called Radhika talking about building a business with growth and sustainability. And I was really attracted to that because I was exhausted building a business that would go up, crash, because I mentally wasn't cut out for that. And it was because we lacked loads of things, no pathway, no structure, no clear way of working. We hadn't found the Herbalife we loved. So when Radhika spoke about nutrition clubs and building it with a structure and purpose, I was in. I thought, okay, I'm open to this, I want to learn. And I remember coming home from Seville, and I remember sitting Dan down in the kitchen going, you need to brace yourself. And he was like, okay, what's happening? And I said, I'm going to Ireland, we're going to open a nutrition club. And he was like, as if.
Only because, though, if I'm honest, it was never for lack of trying with Claire and I. We were always hard workers. We just didn't find, I guess, the Herbalife that fitted with us and that, you know, got us excited and we loved. So it was. So when she said that, I thought, oh, Christ, here we go.
So I went to the club, and Sinead and Orly said, and thank you to the Irish for opening up to us. Thank you. And I remember Orly saying to me, like, if you've ever met Orly, she's going to be on today. She's really softly spoken. She's like an angelic angel. Is that the word? And she goes, Claire, why am I impersonating everyone? She's like, Claire, you have to be there at 6:15. And I thought, 6:15? 6:15 in the morning. She said, well, yeah, you know, if you come in to see clubs, you need to be there from when people arrive to when it closes. So I go to Ireland and I turn up at the club, and within the first 20 minutes, I see person after person coming in that club, smashing the results, positive vibe, relationships being built, trainee coaches, loads of tell, show, try, do going on. It was like this training ground, breeding these people with skills. And I remember sitting there just thinking, I've come home. I've really come home. And I came back from that event and I come home and I go to Dan, right Dan, you need to go to Ireland.
So off I went with Grace and Katie, up in the middle of the night, going, this isn't a good start, I'm not doing this 5 o'clock getting up crack, you know what I mean? But you know what? We went to Ireland, and I think we all got excited and we all could see maybe something, possibility. And as I said, thank you to all the guys for welcoming us. And you know, it's lovely to return the favour with all this for you guys. It's such a pleasure, so it is. So, it's fine. So, believe it or not, all jokes aside, when I was in banking and Claire was in, you know, managing gyms, we were in a corporate background. We knew structures, we knew, you know what I mean, what to do, business. We knew business, but we never put that skill into our Herbalife business. And I remember when we sat down with Nick, Nick said, listen guys, if you're going to go again, and if we're going to do it, we're going to have to look at this as a professional, as opposed to being an amateur, because we'd always looked at Herbalife as just that thing with that dream. So what we started to do was, what would a professional do? They wouldn't just go out today. Now you're all excited. You wouldn't just go out and open a club, would you? I hope not. So we spent 6 months researching clubs, doing the do, figuring it out as a couple. How could we make this work, Claire and I? But most important of all, we had to raise our standards. So we did.
And this is so important. For 6 months, we did all our research. And when Dan says raise our standards, we turned our shoulds into musts. We had to level up in everything that we did. Our attitude, we had to take responsibility that if we wanted to rebuild our business, it was down to us. And we also had to raise the bar of our level of activity. We had to take responsibility for that. And I remember when we started to think about it and put a long-term plan in place, write this down. Professionals have a long-term plan. Okay, that's so important. But we started to talk about, didn't we, Dan, what our mission was?
So any big company has a mission. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could help 10,000 people in our local community get healthy? Because people want to be part of a mission. And then me and Foxy, we thought, God, we need to start with the end in mind, because that was our vision, yeah? And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could build 100 breakfast nutrition clubs? And wouldn't it be cool if 10 of those were frontline tab team? Now, how many are we up to? We laugh. How many?
56.
56. So we're on our way, but it's a 10-year plan. Do you understand? And we're on our way. We're kind of halfway there, a little bit ahead, but it's cool. So it is.
And we started to get clear on what type of nutrition club we were, because for us, we wanted to duplicate. And over them 6 months, our identity started to form about what type of club we were. The clarity came through. And one of the things that we had to keep going back to was, what were we attracted to about the breakfast budget clubs? And when we first started out, we started to create a checklist of what the blueprint model looked like. What were the opening hours of the club? But most importantly, we were skint. We had no money. We had no little nest egg to cover the rent or to cover the startup cost. So the money that we did get together, we had to sort of make that work, and the birth of budget clubs was created. And what we mean by that is we started to develop a model that was low startup cost. We had to have low running costs because we had no safety net of savings. And we knew that we had to make it profitable as fast as we could. We also knew that we had to make it profitable before we even opened the doors. So we had to get really good at launching the club, which I'm going to touch on. The other thing as well is start with the end in mind. We always knew that the big goal for us personally was to open 100 clubs. And with that in mind, from day one and after speaking to Nick, we made that first club an academy. Write that down. Our mindset was that Grassendale, our first club, was going to become an academy as a training ground to bring these customers, these club members through. Find trainee coaches, get them trained up, but find club owners. And that's the name of the game. For us, it's not about finding customers. We were looking to create them 100 club owners. And this is so important. We also, as well, at that time, I remember people saying to us, why are you open 7 till 11? You've got all this other time, open your club. And I was like, no! And I remember people being quite shocked, and I was like, you don't get it. I'm a mum of 2, Dan's a dad of 2. What attracted us to this is it is a front-loaded day business. I know I can find club owners and speak with integrity and passion, because the most attractive thing is we're a breakfast club, 7 till 11, 1 hour inviting, front loading the day, do everything in the morning, and then you've got the rest of the day. If we start open in 12 to 14 hours, that's not attractive. You get burnout, and we've been burnt out. If we want to build a business that has growth and sustainability, and we put these clubs on every street corner, we've got to feel it and believe it in our heart, and we stood our ground. And for me, that's what I would say. Duplication is key. We are breakfast clubs, not the all-day club. Okay. Now, the next thing was, I remember speaking to Nick, and this was Dan. Dan was from a background where in banking, everything was step by step. So it was a little bit like an 8-year-old could do everything. It was systems and processes.
Yeah,
Does
I'm
that
a bit
make
slow
sense?
or something, is it?
No. But we identified that we always struggled to move people through into the marketing plan and create supervisors. Because in Herbalife, if you want to build a residual income, a passive income, which is phenomenal, you have to build supervisors. But not only do you have to build them, they have to be happy, making money, and you've got to create a framework that retains them. So we started to work on the pathway, and what we understood was we had to put people through it first, not tell. We had to show. And it really enabled us to get clarity on what each step of the pathway was, develop really simple checklists so we could teach people how to do it, but we had to teach them exactly what to say to move them along. We also needed to make sure that this was a pathway where we could show people results. And again, that came from me and Dan. We had to go first.
And the next phase of it then was we had the pathway, the steps, and then we needed the support structure to support the pathway, okay? Now, this is an example of our weekly structure, so it is. But please, we started off with one ambassador meeting, so we did. We started off with one quick start meeting, which is quite funny because I remember doing one. It was just me and another person. That was a bit, it's a bit
We
weird,
thought it was out of control, though, didn't we?
And
We did.
And as we built leaders and we got better and we got bigger, we now do the 2 ambassador meetings. We have our training in the middle on a Wednesday, and we got our 2 quick start meetings. And we do this via Zoom because we can reach more people, so we can. And it's gone from 1 person on a quick start now to about 70. And that's twice a week. So you can see what's possible, so it is.
Yeah. And Yeah, thank you, Dan. And this was the biggest breakthrough for me and Dan. We knew from having the pathway in place, customer to supervisor, simple steps, showing people what to do, how it was done, and then having the training structure that underpin the pathway that we could plug people in and move them along, that would enable us to focus on our own personal production. And you're going to hear over this weekend so many trainers talk about personal production. It's the only thing you can control. This is so important. If you want to build your business, it's about what you do, how many invitations you're doing, how many free wellness evaluations, how many new customers you bring in, how many referrals you breed, and how many new people you help to get a Herbalife account and activate them. And this was liberating for us because it really allowed us to take the pressure off. And rather than thinking of, oh my goodness, we need to help everyone else, was the structure, the machine was in place. Now, Dan, let's get to work. We have to get up to these 10K months of personal production to generate, just doing the basics over and over. And as we started to launch clubs, and through launching our very first club, we really understood the importance of launching strong, profitable clubs when they opened. And write this down, it's not about opening a club. It's about opening clubs that are profitable. We're happy people who are successful, and we have to work as one team over the next 10 years minimum to make sure that we protect the marketplace. Do you all get that? This is so important. And the first year for me and Dan was all about putting our pin of Millionaire Team, which was empty, by the way, to one side, and focusing on the basics. We had to make sure that we learned the skills, how to build a customer base. We couldn't even get a customer before clubs. We were that stuck. We then had to learn the basic skills on building a team of new trainee coaches. And then we had to really see if we could, out of these pool of people, find our first club owner, didn't we, Dan?
Sure did, God. And because we were professional, people need structure, they need to be told what to do, okay? So what we came up with in year one was 20 simple practical skills that someone could follow. Just learn the basics, tell, show, try, do the wellness profiles, you know, learn how the club operates, so it does. And then, again, that built onto the career ladder, so it did, didn't it, Claire?
It did. And, you know, we're not going to train you on this because Anne-Marie's going to cover this next. But we did identify that we needed to really help develop what we call junior partners, these mini club owners, so they were ready to go out into the marketplace. And we started to identify 8 basic skills that every club owner needs before they go out. And we needed to help these junior partners that we would find out of our club owners build a mini club within our club, 30 to 40 club members, their own customers, 2 to 3 trainees. So when they were ready to graduate out of our club, they could pick their business up, move into their own location and open in profit. That was the name of the game, and that was a game changer. And a lot of people say to us, why Club 100 in the sense of 100 club members? And I'm just going to shorten this down for you to finish. We identified we wanted to build an organisation of professional club owners, but the income had to be attractive. It also had to be an income that matched what some people out there in the marketplace were earning. And for us, it was a global expansion team check. Active World Team is a starting point for them, but we had to help them develop a global expansion team income because that would retain them, but always with the view in mind of duplication. This was so important. And a Club 100 club is made up of, to keep it simple, find 3 people who want to be junior partners, help them get to what we call active supervisor. If you're new, don't worry about this, but find maybe 9 trainees who want to make a difference and help people. And then we started to map out the Herbalife marketing plan, and Nick helped us with this to go, what if we could show people each level of the marketing plan, how to construct a club and duplicate that to move up, and that gave people clarity and vision.
And this is what happens. These are our heroes. These are some of the gang. You meet amazing people. They duplicate. Claire touched on it there. 56 clubs. These are just some of the guys. We're so grateful to each and every one of you. We're so proud of you. This is just, I guess, our personal production, as Claire said. It comes down to you. And as Claire, from going not being able to get the customer to, I always say I'm trying to keep up with the kids now. It's all 10 to 20,000 in our organisation, so I'm hanging on for my dear life. I feel like such a loser. I'm only joking, sorry.
And this is just showing, when you have all that in place and you let go and focus on just finding that 3 to 5 new people a week, and you provide world-class customer service, and you understand it's a long-term plan, the machine starts to build momentum. So these are our top tips for you going into this event and for the future. Number 1, start with the end in mind. Look for club owners, but there's a place for everyone in clubs, remember that. Number 2, have a clear vision of what you're going to create. Where do you want to be on the Herbalife marketing plan? But you've got to commit to 2 years learning. You've got to be all in. Are you all in?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that one more time. Clubbers, are you all in?
Yeah.
And as Dan said, take responsibility. Do not build your business on hope. Do not build your business on relying on someone else to create your future for your family and kids. Personal responsibility comes down to your personal production. And last thing is, follow the pathway. Don't get cheeky, chappy, skipping a step, hop, skip and a jump. If you want to create a machine that builds profitable supervisors, successful club owners, leave your ego to one side. We had to do that. Enjoy the learnings. And we just want to say, from me and Dan,
Just want to say, next slide, Claire. Thank you to Wayno and Nick. Thank you for believing in us and for everything you do. Thank you, guys.